club mentality of the union was hurting the brotherhood, and International President Charles Pollard opened the doors for all qualified craftsmen in the industry. These steps eventually ignited the rebuilding of the IBEW. The 80s brought the decade for education and organizing in construction by IBEW's president J.J. Barry. Education and organizing for him were key elements that would turn things around for the union construction industry. It also brought the establishment of the Canadian Federation of Labor and the launching of another ambitious organizing program. The last decade of the 20th century came with its share of promise and challenge. Membership was on the rise once again. Training was more advanced than ever. Contracts were fought and won. And although the heyday of the mid-century was clearly a thing of the past, there was hope for the future. As technology escalated in nearly every industry imaginable, IBEW stepped up training efforts, offering education and training that would keep IBEW providing the best, most qualified men and women to the electrical industry. Now, early in the 21st century, the IBEW is the largest electrical union in the world, representing electrical workers in construction and maintenance, utilities, railroad, broadcasting, manufacturing, telecommunications, and various branches of the U.S. and Canadian government. Today, the IBEW is a diverse union, as diverse in its people as the industries we serve. Construction and maintenance. IBEW's Construction and Maintenance Department represents over 250,000 men and women in the electrical construction industry, including outside linemen and inside and residential wiremen and VDV installer technicians. IBEW and the National Electrical Contractors Association sponsor a joint training program that begins with a 5-year apprenticeship and training program and continues throughout the life of a journeyman. From fiber optics to solar photovoltaics, the IBEW and NECA continually advance with the changing times, keeping members trained and up to date on the latest trends and technologies in the electrical construction industry. Utilities. IBEW represents approximately 250,000 utility workers throughout Canada and the United States, including linemen, groundmen, equipment operators, boiler operators, I&C techs, maintenance mechanics, welders, control room operators, and dispatchers. Utilities also represent meter installers, meter readers, field reps, clerical workers, cable splicers, substation electricians, and communications technicians. Thousands of workers in the gas industry are IBEW members, from clerical workers to the employees who construct and maintain gas and maintenance of gas transmission and distribution lines. In all, IBEW represents 83% of all employees in organized private sector utilities, 96% of the organized rural electric cooperative utilities, and 100% of all organized federal government utilities. Telecommunications. The IBEW represents more than 80,000 employees in the telecommunications industry with nearly 300 collective bargaining agreements in place. You'll find IBEW members in all phases of the telecommunications industry: local and long-distance telephone companies, cable television, satellites, and wireless communication systems. Manufacturing. IBEW manufacturing members are employed by companies of all sizes, producing a wide array of products and electrical and electronic components for diverse industries. Communications, computer hardware, consumer electronics, healthcare, national defense, aerospace. These are just some of the industries that require the knowledge and expertise of IBEW members. Equipment needed for the generation, control, and distribution of energy is also produced by IBEW manufacturing members. The list of products manufactured by IBEW members is vast, from electric motors and generators to light fixtures and all types of household appliances, to broadcasting, entertainment equipment, and telecommunications equipment. to scientific and medical equipment, the list of products manufactured by IBEW members goes on. Broadcasting. The IBEW has represented workers in the radio, TV, and recording fields since the early days of experimentation and development. Today, the IBEW has over 300 collective bargaining agreements covering every aspect of the broadcasting industry, from television and radio to recording and production companies to network operations. IBEW members assemble, install, repair, and maintain equipment required in every aspect of the broadcasting industry and must constantly keep up with new and emerging technologies. Government. A sizable segment of IBEW members works for the United States and Canadian governments. Hardly an agency of these governments does not need trained IBEW electrical workers to carry out its purposes. In Naval and Coast Guard shipyards, naval ordnance plants, and various defense activities, electricians, linemen, gyro and electronics technicians, electric crane repairmen, and others are essential to the defense of our nations and the safety of our people. IBEW members work aboard ships, on all types of transmission lines, and all kinds of shops providing maintenance to federal buildings and equipment, on communications work of every type, on navigational locks and dams, on hydro and steam-driven electric power generating plants, and on numerous jobs in every branch of government service. IBEW members are employed in many federal agencies, bureaus, and departments, such as each branch of the Armed Services, the General Services Administration, Bureau of Reclamation, National Park Service, and Department of Veterans Affairs. In Canada, IBEW members perform highly skilled electronics work in several departments of the Treasury Board of Canada. Railroad. Despite the popularity of passenger jet travel and our highway system for product transportation, railroads remain alive and well in North America. In the United States, approximately 40% of all freight is shipped by rail, while in Canada, the figure is even higher, 71%. IBEW members play a major role in keeping this vital mode of transportation rolling. Railroad electricians perform work on all electrical and electronic equipment and components in railroad shops, yards, and buildings. IBEW railroad communications technicians perform all types of communications work with various carriers. They're working with microwave, radio, telephone, and other communications devices to operate, maintain, and repair systems in shops and buildings and on locomotives. The IBEW also represents several other classes of railroad workers as certified and per agreements with particular carriers. Beyond the vast industries IBEW serves, the International continues to create programs and departments that work for all members on and off the job site. Fighting for IBEW's diverse industries and workers' rights in Parliament and on Capitol Hill, providing up-to-date education, research, and legal advice, building pension funds, billions of dollars strong, strengthening IBEW's diverse membership through its Human Services Department, reaching out to others to make a difference in the communities we serve. The list goes on as the IBEW continues to provide education, assistance, and support in every aspect of the electrical industry. From each department to every international program, for over 100 years, the IBEW has been driven by one purpose: to make life better for members of this great union and for the generations of IBEW members in the decades to come.
Throughout the 20th century, IBEW kept pace with the ever-changing electrical industry, evolving from a regional network of lineman locals to one international union representing workers in all aspects of the electrical trade. As we ushered in the 21st century several years ago, and more than 100 years since our founding, we passed into a time of technological wonderment, far different than the world of electricity more than 100 years ago. And although we are faced with our own challenges today, many political in nature, we have entered into an exciting time for our union. Never before has the IBEW been in a greater position to serve our members, our contractors, and our industry. Never before have we been better prepared to meet the challenges of our rapidly changing world. No doubt we're proud of our heritage, the courageous electricians who built this union, and in some cases risked their lives for this union. We are forever in their debt. But today, in the 21st century, we're equally proud of where we're going, changing with the changing times through training and education, anticipating advances in the industry, and never wavering from the mission to make a better life for our IBEW members. As the torches pass from one generation to the next, we will continue to light the way to create a better and brighter future for all workers.